So welcome to Physics 1. I'm Doc Harris. Let's see what we've got today. Welcome. I have an office, not that that's going to do any good for anyone. Best way to get in contact with me is through my email. And I list my email right there, dharris@fit.edu. We will be having free help sessions, which it's office hours. Free help sessions is office hours. We'll have office hours on Zoom. I am required to schedule specific office hours. However, doing that virtually is really weird. Like having specifically scheduled office hours virtually is a very weird thing to do. So I show you my my office hours right there technically, but my real office hours are effectively any time that you need office hours. It'll all be by appointment, and it'll all be on Zoom. The problem with having specific office hours is, like, what do? Do I just leave my camera on for 2 hours during the day? I actually tried that, and my camera heats up a whole ton, and I don't want to like break my camera or something like that. So anytime you need office hours, email me, and we will set something up. That's the easiest thing to do, I hope. If you have problems with that, email me. Still, just if you ever, one point of advice for this class is when problems are starting, tell me sooner rather than later. If you have problems with the book, tell me this week. Oh, definitely tell me this week. Try to tell me today if you have problems with the book. If you have problems with your schedule, for example, I know a lot of you are trying to, work a little bit this summer to pay for all this stuff, and with all the economy going crazy, you might have schedules that you don't really like. So tell me if you have any problems with any of this, and we'll try to work something out. I know this is a crazy situation for literally everyone on Earth right now, including me and including you. So we will figure something out to accommodate as best as we can so that it's fair for everyone. I go by Doc Harris or Doc, so just random thing about me, I guess. Makes me a little bit different from the other professors, I suppose. Here's a map of everywhere that I have been living. I'm actually from here. I'm from Melbourne, Florida. Just across I'm on the island. I grew up on the island just off coast. I went to University of Florida for undergrad, University of Utah for grad school. All the orange stars are places that I've lived, and the blue stars are places that I've taught. So I taught at Utah Valley University, I taught at the US Coast Guard Academy, and I taught at Florida Gulf Coast University, and now I'm teaching here. So I've kind of been everywhere over the course of my career. And this is one of my favorite pictures from the Coast Guard Academy. I'm not going to explain this picture because it takes way too long. I'll tell you this, I accidentally made my class have to do push-ups. It was a miscommunication between me and their drill sergeant, or cadre as we called it. And suddenly my whole class had to do push-ups because it's something that they didn't actually do wrong. So yeah, I think this is the funniest picture that I took at the Coast Guard Academy. It was a military academy. I was never in the military, but they needed physicists to teach. So I actually learned pretty much everything that I know about teaching from there. It was a very interesting experience. I've done a bunch of research over the course of my career, star-forming infrared dark clouds and quasar astrophysics, and now I'm doing physics education research. So I've got some titles of some papers here: investigations of quasar spectral diversity using quasar composite spectroscopy from the Lyman Alpha Survey from BOSS, which stands for the Baryon Acoustic Oscillation Spectroscopic Survey. It's a bunch of random garbage, but it's fun garbage for me. So if you ever want to talk about cool physics stuff and astronomy stuff, I'm totally game for that. I'm right now doing some investigations into black hole spatial dispersion. Well, I would be if I had any time. I was expecting to do that over summer, but I'm teaching instead. So we'll see what time I have to do any of the research. I wrote a book. I co-authored a book. It's kind of garbage, but it was really fun to write. It's good to keep hobbies that are not exactly in line with your education. Like most of you are engineers of some sort. Have a hobby that isn't engineering. It's really fulfilling to have weird hobbies sometimes. Oh, let's look at the syllabus. This should be the page that you land on when you go to Canvas, go to my page on Canvas. And I'm going to try to keep everything pretty clear in here. So you'll land on this page. I started off with some important links right there, and then just some important stuff, just one-liner kinds of stuff. And then I'm going to have videos down here. So let's go through this one at a time. Let's actually start with the most important stuff here. This is almost an extremely brief summary of the syllabus. So I do expect people to attend Zoom classes each time. You will learn the most by actually attending live. I'm going to record, I am recording these lectures, and I will post them on YouTube, but I cannot guarantee that I'm going to post them quickly on YouTube. You know, posting them the same day is a very fast turnaround to get these posted. It actually takes a long time to edit these videos and upload these videos to YouTube. So try to watch actually on time and actually attend each Zoom class. There's going to be 4 tests and a final exam, so 5 tests total. They'll all be on Canvas. You can use your books, your notes, the videos that I post, your calculators, and anything else pretty much, because frankly, I can't stop you. I can't stop you from doing these things, so making up rules to try to stop you is going to be counterproductive, and it'll just punish anyone that actually follows all the rules. The one rule that I do want you to actually comply with is do not communicate with anyone else in any way during a test. That is the one thing that I definitely want you to follow. Don't communicate with anyone else. One way that I have to help you to not communicate with anyone else is that every test is going to be unique and procedurally generated and different from all the other tests. So if you try to cheat on your test, you're going to be talking to someone else, presumably in the class, and they're going to have a completely different test than you are. The tests will have different questions. I am making it so that every question is the same difficulty and tests the same kind of thing, but they will be different questions. And so cheating will only end up confusing you if you try to do any of that. So don't cheat, because it'll only confuse you. All the tests are going to be unique. I believe I can generate up to, it's 3 to the 10th power tests, at least 3 to the 10th power, which I'm asking my calculator, that's 59,000 different versions of the test. So it's not exactly an infinite number, but it's a lot of different possible versions. The tests will be mostly multiple choice, somewhat conceptual. There'll be a few where you have to type in an answer into Canvas. It'll look like a Canvas quiz. If you have accommodations of any kind, you need to contact the accommodations, whatever it is. Academic Support Center, yes. Contact the Academic Support Center and ask them to send out the normal email to the professors to get the extra time. And then I can go in to the tests and actually give you the extra time on the tests manually. It's actually really easy to do on Canvas to give people extra time. So yes, talk to academic support, get them to do the regular email to me asking for the extra time, and I'm still working on how many questions that I'm going to have per exam. I'm it's probably going to be about 15.
Okay.
15 to 20, probably, because you're going to have the usual hour and 45 minutes for the test. I'm just going to give you the whole class time, the whole class period to work on the test. So I've only given this kind of test once, and it actually worked really well to do 24 questions in 2 hours. That was my final exam last semester. And so I think, 15 to 20 in an hour and 45 minutes, it's not as big as a final. Um, it's enough questions that you don't like go down an entire letter grade. Well, I guess you would go down to an entire letter grade if it's 10 questions. So I want to make it enough questions that it's not an entire letter grade per question that you miss, but not so many that you can't do it. Unfortunately, this means that there's not going to be any partial credit on things. I don't like that. I don't like not having partial credit, but I believe that this is going to be the best solution. I reserve the right to change things if I think that it's going to help student learning. So we will see. We'll see what happens. Oh, and then another question. Oh, Spencer, did that answer your question?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna mute you. Nicholas had a question. Will there be extra credit? Not at this time. I do not think that there's going to be extra credit. I've not needed it in previous classes, previous semesters. I've never needed to have extra credit in previous semesters. I reserve the right to change that. Any of the changes that I make will be in your favor. Like right now, what we're talking about in the syllabus and all of that, that's going to be the most strict that it can be. So changes that I make will actually be to help you. In the past, I've gotten it down to a real good science, and I've got like the perfect number of people in every grade, and there's not a lot of complaints about grades, and so I feel like in previous semesters I got that down pretty well. In this semester, it's super weird because it's all online and the tests are different, and I don't know what's going to happen. So I reserve the right to make changes, but they'll be to your benefit. I think always any changes that I make would be to your benefit. So hopefully that works. I'll make email announcements to tell you that changes are being made, give you plenty of warning. All right, office hours, we already talked about that a little bit. Technically, I have to schedule office hours at particular times, but functionally, because this is an online class, you can ask for office hours at any time that you want to, and you'll just come onto this Zoom link, and we'll talk on the Zoom link, and I think that'll work better than just like having the screen here for hours on end randomly when no one's actually showing up. So email me for office hours. It is literally part of my job to have office hours, so you're not imposing on my time to ask for office hours. It is, as I said, literally my job to have office hours. So go ahead and email me when you need to. You do need to get the book, University Physics with Modern Physics 15th edition. It looks like this. If you're a physicist, if you're a physics major, I recommend getting a physical copy of the book. I actually have all my old books from undergrad, and I value that, having all my old books. So if you're a physics major, you might consider going ahead and buying the $300 textbook. It's ridiculous, but you'll probably save it forever, and it'll probably be useful forever. For everyone else, you probably shouldn't bother. Just get the rental copy. It's $120, and I know that sucks, and nobody wants to spend that kind of money, especially now with the economy doing crappy things. So, but we need to actually use that book, especially this semester when everything is online. I usually don't have students get the Mastering Physics stuff, but this semester, I really want to ensure that you actually get something out of this. You're paying a lot more to take this class than you're going to be paying for the book. And if you're paying so much to take the class, I want to make sure that you're actually learning something. If there's holes in your knowledge in Physics 1, that's going to hurt you in all of your subsequent physics and engineering courses. So I'm trying to do everything that I can to ensure that you learn everything that you can learn for your future classes. I give you a link here for the book. If you have problems actually buying the book, email me. I've already heard some problems from Stefan about needing to sign in. If you already have an account with the math stuff, if you have a Pearson math book, which I bet most of you do, you will probably have to sign on and jump through some extra hoops to link it with getting the physics book. But just sign in if you have to. And you'll have homework due every week via Mastering Physics. The first homework is due on Tuesday. In 8 days, you have a homework due. That homework is probably going to take you between 1 and 4 hours, just depending on how fast you go at homework. 1 to 4 hours. That sounds like a lot. And it kind of is. So you should start working on it as soon as you can. I think that it's going to average 2 hours. I think that the average student can finish it in 2 hours. And that's the equivalent of 1 lecture. So get working on it as soon as you can. If you have any problems, email me. Oh, interesting thing about the homework. You have an infinite number of tries on every single problem. I will not deduct any points for getting a question wrong, literally an infinite number of tries until you actually get it right. You have to get it right to get any credit. But I'm not going to be one of those professors that like marks off 3% every time you get a question wrong, and you get like 5 tries. No, you get no points off for getting a question wrong, and you get an infinite number of tries. So it's low stakes homework, but that's to help you study. The homework is just going to be 15% of the grade, and we'll get to that in a few more slides. But yeah, just do the homework through the Mastering Physics as quickly as you can. Let's look at my YouTube channel. I give the link here. So here is my YouTube channel. It exists. I've got a ton of videos. You can see all the videos here. All these videos, like the video 1 through the video 20, actually through review 2, I guess, all these videos are from my last semester. So you can watch these. They're for the second half of the class. And when we all went to Zoom and online stuff, I just made a bunch of videos that were not live, but I was actually asked by my boss to have live classes, and I actually totally get that. I think that it will help your learning overall. So we will use all these as resources in the future, and that's great. I will never take these down. I will always leave these videos up so that you can watch any of them that you want to. I will post our in-class lectures here when I can edit them and submit them to YouTube. I've already got 4 more videos here that you can see for this semester. And these are just example problems. And we'll look at a couple of those, or I'll give you the links to those today as well. And I'm going to update this page as necessary. So, any questions? All right. Well, let's look at some of these links. Here's the links up here. Syllabus, I've already kind of explained most of this stuff. You can go through this at your leisure. The grading policy, this is one thing that everyone wants to always know about. There will be tests and homeworks and a final exam. The tests will be done by Canvas quiz, as I said. They'll be partially multiple choice, partially fill in the blank. There'll be conceptual and computational questions on there. Your lowest test grade, not including the final exam, will be dropped. So, you know, if you really bomb one test, well, try not to do that, but it's going to get dropped, so don't worry as much. And then the tests will be open during the regular class meeting time. Unless you have accommodations, then it'll be open for longer than that. And, oh, if you have accommodations, if you have like double time or something like that, and you have a class right after this, then let's talk and we'll figure out a way for, just email me and we'll figure out a way for you to actually take the test at a time that you're able to. The final exam will be held on the last day of class. It will also be online as a Canvas quiz kind of thing, same format as the other tests. The homework will be done through Mastering Physics. You'll have a penalty of 5% per day that you're late. So if you're late by 1 day, the maximum score you can get is a 95%. And I will never deduct more than 50%. So if you are 10 days late, you can get a maximum of 50%. If you're 20 days late, you can still get a maximum of 50%. So don't do that. Try to be on time. Try to get a penalty of nothing because you're on time. That'll be for the best. But if something crazy happens and you have to be late, well, you'll never lose more than half of your credit for it. The grades, the weighting, you have 6 tests, but, you have 60% as tests. There's 4 tests with the lowest dropped. So that means your highest 3 tests will count. That means that each test is actually 20% of your grade. That's a lot, but the lowest one is dropped. The final exam is 25% of your grade. So you do have to do well on the final to get a good grade in this course. And then 15% of your grade is homework and any other assignments that I decide to assign. We'll see what I come up with for this, but there'll definitely be the homework there. This grading scale has worked well for me in the past. It's the traditional grading scale. 90 to 100 is an A, 80 to 90 is a B, 70 to 80 is a C, etc. In general, I debate whether or not I should tell you this, but I do try to have a grading scale such that very few people fail the class, very few people get a D in the class. Really, if you try hard, then you shouldn't be worried about a D or an F. If you never come to class, if you never really try, if it's very clear that you're not actually engaged in the class, if you never come to office hours, yeah, okay, then D's and F's are on the table for you. But if you're trying, if you're coming to office hours, if you're coming to class, if you're trying your best on the homework, then I'm going to really hope that you're in one of these 3 categories. And I try to make it so that about a third are in each. 1/3 of you will be in each category. So question from Stefan, if my grade is an 89.9, would it be rounded up to a 90 or an 89? The way that I have it here is that it's 80, inclusive with 80 and exclusive with 90. So an 89.9 would be a B. I don't really like that. I prefer to have plus and minus grades. Like with plus and minus grades, you don't have to worry about that nearly as much, but I do have to draw the line somewhere. So I've chosen to draw the line like this. Again, I reserve the right to change this, but if I change it, it will be in your favor. So don't worry too, well, okay, obviously you're going to be worried about your grade, and you probably should be. If you're worried about your grade, email me. I'm here to talk about these kinds of issues. If you do really bad on the first test, talk to me like immediately, and we can talk about how to improve. So there's a lot of things that I can help with on that. Nicholas asks, is there a grading curve like on tests? I do not anticipate needing a curve, but if I do curve it, it's actually going to be at the end of the semester where I just change what an A is and what a B is. So it's all worked out. It's worked out pretty well in the past for me to do it that way. I'm hoping that it works out well this semester to do it that way. Uh, let's see. Attendance via Zoom is not required, but it's very strongly encouraged. You're more likely to succeed if you come to class on Zoom. Um, I will make updates as I need to. I'll announce the changes. Professionalism, I really don't think that there's going to be any problem with professionalism, especially because this is on Zoom. I can always just block you if you're being unprofessional. I don't anticipate that. But be professional. You know, treat this as a job environment. That's good advice for all your classes. Treat it as if you are at your job, because right now it is your job to be learning, and it's my job to be teaching. So it is literally my job environment. So if you treat it like a job, then you'll have the professionalism that you need. Academic honesty, well, don't cheat. Really, the only way you can cheat is by contacting outside people, or I guess, you know, obviously you're not allowed to go to weird random websites. Don't go to Chegg while you're taking my test. The questions, I'm not going to take questions. I'm not going to have questions that are going to be on Chegg anyway. So going to Chegg is just going to waste your time, fortunately. Fortunately for me, I guess. So I'm going to be creating all of my questions from scratch. So it will hopefully not be possible for you to cheat on the tests. And I give some extra guidelines for that there. This is all just from the Florida Tech Policies Handbook. I've got the Title IX statement. Feel free to read that. Academic accommodations statement. Please read that as well. I've got the schedule here, but I've also got it formatted a little bit better here. Let's look here. So I went back to the main page. This is back to the main page, and this is the schedule link. So this is the schedule as it stands right now. Oh, actually, were there any questions on the syllabus? No. Okay, cool. Here's the schedule. Today we're going to be doing this introduction and also starting on chapter 1, chapter 2 tomorrow, chapter 1 tomorrow, chapter 2 Wednesday and Thursday. We are going through this at lightning speed. Oh dear, this is an accelerated schedule, but this is what we have to do because it's summer and it's on Zoom and all that. No class on Monday. Your first homework is due on Tuesday because we don't have class on Monday. It'll be due at midnight. You've got your first test on Thursday. That, not this upcoming Thursday, not the end of this week, but the end of next week is your first test, and it will cover chapters 1, 2, and 3. So be prepared for that. I'll give, homework will always be due on Monday or Tuesday. Tests will always be on Thursdays. I have experimented in the past with having tests on Mondays, and I found that the tests that I had on Mondays always had a lower score on average. If I ever gave a test on a Monday, students did worse on that test. And I want you to succeed. And I don't want a wild weekend to be the reason that you don't do well on a test. So therefore, tests on Thursdays after a week worth of class. Got test 1, test 2 on the 11th of June, test 3 on the 25th of June, test 4 on the 9th of July, and the final exam on the last day of class, which is the 16th of July. You see we have 8 homework assignments, and so we've got plenty of homework to do as well. Any questions on the schedule? All right. Well, I've also got a files section here. I've got all the slides that we're going to be doing. This is just for this week. These are the slides for this week. We'll be doing, technically, I guess we're still on the introductions slides. We'll do the unit slides as well, at least part of the unit slides today. What else? Announcements. This is just the tab for the announcements. I give, here's the Zoom link that you already know about because you're here. So keep in contact with these announcements. got this homework tab here. I cannot actually link to the homeworks because Canvas does not play well with mastering physics. They say that that's going to get updated in the future. As I said, they're usually due on Mondays. Question, will we get a new Zoom link for every session? I don't think so. I do not want to do that because that's more confusing for all of you. So we will try to just have this Zoom link every time. If that changes, I'll send out announcements, obviously. But right now, it's just going to be this. That's so that it's easier on you and that it's easier on me. I like to have things easy on everyone as much as possible. So yeah, homework's due on Mondays. Homeworks are lengthy. You know, these are not short homework assignments. They should take 2 to 4 hours. I said 1 to 4 hours earlier, but they should take several hours. The rule of thumb is usually for every hour you're in class, you should be working for 2 to 4 hours outside of class, studying, reading the book, doing the homework, things like that. I think when I was in college, I averaged 2 hours, maybe 2.5 hours outside of class for every hour in class. But that swung wildly depending on what semester it was. There are semesters that I was spending 5 hours outside of class for every hour I was in class. That was not fun. And then like some classes, I spent like 10 minutes outside of class for every hour I was in class. But you know, this is physics is not supposed to be an easy class, so it's going to take a fair amount of time to get this stuff done. If you have problems, email me. I know that, you know, a lot of people are, as I said, trying to work over the summer. So I understand some of the difficulties that people have. Email me if you have undue hardships. You do get an infinite number of tries, and you don't get deducted on anything. You can start trying out the homework assignments whenever you want at no risk to your grade. To access the homework, go to this link and sign up. You'll need the access code, which I give you there. That's the access code to sign up for my class. Email me immediately if you need help. Questions now? All right. Well, what else do I have? I have this link. I'm going to post pages for the videos that I'm posting. So this is a work in progress, check back. I'm making these videos as I go along, but these are some of my videos. This is a review video from last semester that I decided would be really good for chapter 1. And then I solved some of the example problems on video. This is so that you can go back at any time and watch my entire solution for a problem. I'm kind of doing everything that I can think of this semester for making this as good of an experience for you as it is for me. You can find the Mastering Physics code on the homework tab. These videos are, they're short mostly. They're like, this one is 8 minutes long, and it's just me solving a problem. Oh, that's going to be confusing if I play this while I'm talking. It's me solving a problem. And so you can watch those videos. I also put them in my slides. Let's see, I think that was it from the pages. If we go there, just for the code is there under homework. Questions right now? All right, then in that case, let's go back to my introduction slides right here. I think I've already shown you all this, given you all these links and all that. Yeah, we already talked about the usual schedule of events, tests every 2 weeks, homework every week. We already talked about this. First homework assignment should take, actually, Mastering Physics tells me how long it assumes that it's going to take you. Mastering Physics thinks that it's going to take you 135 minutes to do the first homework, which is 2 hours and 15 minutes. We'll see how accurate that is. And I'll record these videos and edit out what you say for your privacy, obviously. I'll put them to YouTube when I have time, but man, do they take a long time to edit. And then my channel is Physics with Doc Harris, and you can find that at that ridiculous link right there. Success in physics. Okay, so coming to class virtually every time, I think is a minimum amount of effort to actually succeed in this class. Participating in class is very important. I know it's weird over Zoom, participating on Zoom. That's strange, but let's try it anyway. You know, I've seen a lot of people using the chat feature and raising their hands, and I really like that. So please continue doing that. That's good participation. Doing the practice problems, the homework, reading the book outside of class, obviously incredibly important. Don't try to memorize steps to solve problems. You need to understand the concepts and see how they relate to each other. That's going to be far more important than memorizing steps. Refresh your mathematical ability. Relearn your trigonometry and your vectors and your algebra and all that stuff. That is also incredibly important for you to succeed in physics. Then asking for help. Ask early rather than late. Don't wait until the very end of the semester to say, you know, oh, I didn't get this thing from the first day. No, you need to tell me as soon as you can what you are not getting. And that's going to help all of us a lot to keep in contact like that, and so that I know what your needs are.